Diving's a very sociable activity. You get to meet people from all walks of life. You've got that shared interest of the dive, and then after diving, you know, you get to discuss what you've done, and also you meet some really good people.
I got into diving just by accident more than anything else. It was just curiosity.
I got into diving because I love nature, love the ocean. It just seemed the obvious thing to do.
You just totally forgot about everything. So when you've got this shark that close to you, it's definitely the best thing I've ever done.
A little daunting the first time, you do feel a little bit funny. Dare I say, excuse the pun, like a fish out of water.
In 3 months, I think this is the most I've ever spent in my whole entire life on a spontaneous shopping spree. That's the way I put it.
You know, as long as you've got the right equipment, you can dive anywhere.
For many people, scuba diving is merely swimming underwater, but for anyone who has been captured by this engineered miracle, it's a lot more than just swimming. Scuba diving changes people's lives to become an ocean hopper a few times a year or to full-time instructors travelling the seas. This short documentary is to help educate and elaborate on what this sport can do for you.
I started diving at my school in 1969. School had a swimming pool built, and the West Bromwich Sub-Aqua Club used it on a Friday night, and we all got invited down, and that was it. Fell in love with it. Best experiences ever, and I've done it a few times now, and I think there's someone here tonight I did it with. The very first time you take them and they jump in the Red Sea, no matter how long they've been diving, they could be diving forever, and you get in first and see their faces when they get in that water. Their eyes just pop out. It's just unbelievable. It is absolutely like diving in an aquarium. Brilliant, absolutely. You can see for miles. You just can't stop them. The excitement is amazing.
The best place I've dived has got to be Egypt. I did a dive on the Fisagorn, and that was just a beautiful experience. Massive great big ship, loads and loads of motorbikes on there, loads of fish around there, and it was just an experience of a lifetime. However, I don't know whether that's as good as perhaps when I dived at the Farns with the seals. That was an experience of a lifetime.
I think most people think that, or would say that their best dive is, you know, in Egypt, in the Maldives, or somewhere further afield than that. My best dive was just is off the island of Lundy in England, actually. We'd had a pretty rough trip over from the mainland, and a couple of the people had gotten quite sick. But once we got into the water, the visibility was incredible. There's a huge amount of life there. You know, there's jewel corals that glow and have got fantastic colour to them. There's seals everywhere, all sorts of different coloured fish. And so, although you can see all that abroad, to see it here was a real treat, really. So that was definitely my favourite.
So many of us never think diving could be done anywhere else other than the sea. But many companies do their training in quarries or lakes. You can see lots of spectacular planted wrecks 170 miles from the coast, as well as an abundance of life.
Don't care
a really great inland dive at a quarry. I mean, the wrecks, it was like one of my first ever like wreck dives inland, compared to Dust Hill and seeing like a caravan and a post office van, you know, actually seeing like an aeroplane hangar and the amusement attractions like the horse and stuff like that, and the boats, the submarine, they're all like really interesting wrecks to swim around, and you know, fantastic. And then seeing the wildlife like the sturgeon, amazing. You know, it's something that you just don't see every day. Even in a quarry, we were just quite lucky to see quite a few things. And then feeding the fish afterwards with the sweet corn, you know, what an experience. Even though like you're getting, you know, fish smacked everywhere, like slapped, your legs getting slapped out and you're losing your balance and stuff, but it was absolutely fantastic. Really enjoyed it. Absolutely looking forward to going back there again. You know, well worth it.
Falling between choosing a hot or cold country to dive in is the skills needed for each environment. Divers can expand their knowledge and skills with speciality courses done all over the world.
The most beneficial ones have been my wreck diving and my deep diving course, because I'm quite interested in wreck diving. So it's learning how to orientate yourself around a wreck, and also how to reel off and explore the wreck and get out safely, which is the main thing. It's just, I'm just fascinated by wrecks. We've got a lot of wrecks around this country. A lot of the shallower wrecks tend to have been broken up, and all the good stuff has been looted off them over the past, where some of the deeper wrecks are still intact, so there's less damage and they're more interesting to look at, and less people have been there. So it's more of a chance of having to look at something where not as many people have been.
Best speciality, search and recovery. Great fun, great thing to do. Can mess the bottom up with no problem. Tie things up, stick lift bags on them, fill them full of air, watch them float to the surface. We've moved trees round in Dust Hill. 4 of us have swam round with a tree, must have weighed 1.5 tons. It's really great fun, really good.
The most useful thing that I've ever done is definitely a rescue course, more than the specialties, because the skills it teach you are far more important in terms of that they're there to safeguard your safety in the water and also your bodies, and teaches you how to look after other divers, look after yourself, and what to do if anything goes wrong. So, you know, wreck specialties and you know, buoyancy and all that kind of stuff we can learn, but fundamentally the most important thing to learn is what to do if something goes wrong, I think.
Scuba diving is a chance for people to go underwater and experience a completely different environment. We've all been captivated by what's beneath the surface for our own individual reasons, but for so many of us it's the unpredictability of the unknown.
My aim with diving is to dive with great whites, hammerheads and tiger sharks. If I can do one of them before I die, then I'll be over the moon. Ever since I was little, I've been fascinated by them. I think they're absolutely incredible. I think they're beautiful. Fingers crossed I can see a great white. It's what's got me into diving.
2 different routes I'm going in my diving at the moment. Recreational instructor, which is something I really enjoy doing. I like teaching people. I like being involved in introducing people into diving and people progressing their diving. And on a separate note, I also want to get into more interest in diving for my own benefit, especially wreck diving. So I want to start doing some more interesting wrecks, deeper wrecks, longer dives, and something with more historical interest rather than just looking at a piece of metal. It's nice to look at some things that have, you know, why they were sank, and you know, what happened to them, what happened to the people who are on them, you know, and what's happening to, you know, from that point of view as well. It's different, you know, you get just as much enjoyment from diving in cold water as you do in warm water. You get to see things that you wouldn't see in every environment. If you just dived in the same environment, then you're just going to see the same things all the time. It's nice to have a good variety. Plus it's also good to have the skills to be able to dive in colder environments using a dry suit, and also to dive in warmer water where you maybe just in a wetsuit.
Scuba diving originally being an acronym for self-contained underwater breathing apparatus, now widely considered a word in its own right. Reports have shown that over 5 million people have a scuba certification. Whether that says they are active divers is not shown. However, it can be said diving may not push your physical limits like other extreme sports, but it does broaden our minds to what a beautiful world we live in. We have seen how many parts of diving can be experienced, but also how it takes the individual to different chapters of their lives. It's definitely changed mine, as I'm about to travel Southeast Asia to explore the wonders of the blue. Maybe I'll see you there.